Shaun Murphy, champion of the Duelbits Tour Championship. How does that sound?
Yeah, absolutely blown away. Absolutely over the moon to win and to win well. To come here off the back of a really good performance at the Players, to roll that on and carry that on. I'm absolutely delighted. And although it's going to be an issue getting this beautiful trophy back to the Republic of Ireland, I don't think this will fit into Ryanair's luggage policy. But no doubt I am going to try.
A challenge you'll relish, I'm sure. 4-0 down this afternoon. What were you thinking then?
I was thinking, it's not first to fall. I've won and lost plenty of matches from similar positions. I've come back from much bigger deficits than that. I was 8-2 behind to Ding and beat him 9-8 in the Whooshie Classic. I think I was 11-5 down to Matthew Stevens in the Worlds and won that as well. So, I've been further behind than 4 frames. And I know how it feels to have somebody run at you from a leading position. It's not always the most comfortable position to be in, but I think those second batch of 4 frames this afternoon proved pivotal and gave me a massive foothold in the match.
The 8th frame seemed crucial, really, and that escape you played was fantastic. It turned into a snooker. You then won the frame, ended the session 4-all. Could have been 5-3. That just seemed like a really, really pivotal point in the day's play.
Yeah, and I think if you watch it back, it had that feel that it was going to come down to something like what happened, on the last ball, no colours safe. It had that. We've seen it so many times before. Kyron had a couple of chances to put that frame away. He kept pulling out miracle pots, and it just had that feel that it was something strange was going to happen. You learn to sense the atmosphere of the game. We don't all speak the language of the snooker gods, but you can sometimes see them at play. And of course, when I got out of the snooker, I couldn't have predicted where the balls were going to go. They couldn't have gone better for me. That was very, very lucky on my part. But it was a good shot nonetheless to hit the red.
You're right about feeling, because it felt like in the evening session, I think when it got to the 12th frame and you got the steal, went to 6-all, and then all of a sudden you're 8-6 up, it just felt like the tide was turning at that point, and it was probably going to be very difficult for Kyron to stop you. Is that how it felt down on the floor?
Out there, you're sensing the atmosphere of everybody, including your opponent, the crowd, the atmosphere in there, how you're feeling. But around that sort of 6-all, 7-6 mark, I just challenged myself to try and find a gear, to just try and find something that the really good players of yesteryear, who I grew up watching, the Davises, Hendrys of this world, they always found a gear when they needed it. And tonight it felt that, when I needed it, my best form of the final was right there.
You've had a fantastic 2023 so far, but you've also been saying that this form has been coming. We've done interviews before, and you've said you felt it coming, but it's easier said than done, and it's also a lot harder in sport to jump that last hurdle, if you like, and go that sort of last mile. How have you managed to do that in the last few months?
Well, I've been working very hard on my game. I've been working very hard on myself. I've had a lot of stern conversations with myself, looking myself in the mirror, working out how I can be better as a person. That leads to being a better snooker player. And there's been a lot of soul searching, there's been a lot of honest conversations. I've had to work on things that were painful, but they've paid off. I knew that it was coming. It's like trying to turn a cruise liner. It doesn't turn immediately. And even though you can bank it fully left, it still might take an hour or two to turn. So in my snooker life, I knew my game was good months ago, but it's taken some time to come. And listen, there's one event left of the season. I'd pay a lot of money to keep this form for a couple of weeks more.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're in cracking form now for the World Champs. A bit of a target on your back, you're the player to beat heading to Sheffield?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I let other people decide all of that stuff. I feel like I'm playing as well as anyone. And I think if I can take this level of patience and composure to the crucible, where matches can turn on a dime, the ebb and flow of the long matches, the double, triple session matches, if I can take that kind of composure that I've got at the moment there, I'm a handful for anyone.
You've joined Ronnie O'Sullivan, Neil Robertson tonight in completing the Duelbits treble. Lovely little group to join.
I think any time you share a little record with either Mr. Robertson or Mr. O'Sullivan, it's got to be a good thing. Delighted to have got the full set of ITV events, including the Champion of Champions. Bearing in mind the first few years of the Champion of Champions, I couldn't win a match. I used to drive to Coventry. It was a completely pointless drive there for a best of 7 and go home. To now have the full set of ITV events and to have capped off a great month's worth of play with this trophy, I'm absolutely over the moon.
How are you going to celebrate tonight?
I'm going to celebrate by getting a taxi at 2:45 a.m. to Leeds Bradford Airport and flying home.
Good luck getting that home.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in Sheffield.